Live? Are we live? Are we doing it live? Are we here?
Oh, my Bendu. We did it again.
Was that?
We did it again.
Was it because we were playing a clip?
Yeah.
It wasn't even that long.
It's not like we were watching 20 uninterrupted minutes of Willow. Come on.
Yeah. What the fuck? Anyway.
We got kicked, baby. We got kicked.
Yeah. Anyway. Welcome back, everyone. On that note. So yes, in conclusion, Emerald City was great. Bad Batch.
In conclusion,
Bad Batch. Oh man, we're like a little bit more than halfway there. So we got like 6 episodes left.
6 episodes left. Something's going on with Crosshair. We're approaching the end game. We're going to get the end game with the clones and the end game with Crosshair, and it's all going to come full circle. And you know what? I think it's going to come with an unhappy ending. I think Omega's going to get got. Omega's going to get brought back to Tantiss. Crosshair is going to sacrifice himself to rescue her.
He's either going to sacrifice himself, or they're just going to straight Frankenstein his ass, and they're going to turn him into a dark trooper, and or the Death Troopers, and like we see in Rogue One, and like he's not going to get a say anymore. He's just going to sound is what he's going to be saying.
You're right, Cliff Notes. There's only 4 episodes left, in fact.
But yes. So there's still a lot story-wise with that one.
Yeah, that's my prediction. I'm leaving it on record. I think that Omega is going to get kidnapped, brought to Tantiss, probably by Crosshair. But Crosshair is going to eventually have a change of heart and redeem himself by sacrificing his life to save Omega.
Well, because here's the thing,
survives,
too.
He does not.
We haven't seen the part that we saw in the trailers and commercials of Rex giving. We haven't seen Rex's hologram yet. We haven't seen Rex call Hunter and be like, "Hey, yo, I got a mission for you." Yet that hasn't happened. So we still. I don't know what'll happen tonight. I don't know if tonight will be another Crosshair episode or if this might be the Rex episode. Now that I say that out loud.
We only have 3 more nights of Bad Batch drops. 4 more episodes, but the last 2 episodes are getting dropped at once.
It's a tour.
It's a 2-parter, and we're getting them both at once. So it's gonna be over before you know it. Honestly, I think we're finally approaching the end game, and after so many episodes of just like having an adventure of the week, we're starting to get a shape of what the overall story is going to be for this season, and I don't think it's going to go to happy places. Quite honestly.
Yeah.
Oh man. So let's move on and let's talk about, because that is what is important right now. Honestly,
do you have a screenshot? Did you rewatch the episode? Do you have a screenshot of what we saw underwater?
I can grab one real quick. Let me hold on.
I should have texted you that when I was at work and thinking about it, because like now I'm thinking about it and I'm having like a weird Mandala effect of like, did it have multiple eyes? That motherfucker looked like it had like 2 separate eyeballs on the same side of its head, and that
it has a lot of nooks and crannies on the side of its head, but I think it only has the 1 eyeball.
But
well, I mean, two, one, but 1 on each side. You know what I mean?
Bro.
Yeah, let me get that. Let me get that right now. Get it.
The level of like thalassophobia, like it was almost like in that weird
nice use of thalassophobia.
Kirsten Dunst movie, Underwater, when it's like you see for the moment the shadow of Cthulhu, like
coming out of the right.
Hole and just like
God, what movie was
fucks up the drilling site. But like that creature was big, bro. Like we've seen ideas.
This is what we saw. This right here. And it's got a big old tusk coming off the side. So it has the big horns. This is a side shot. This is like it's like that. It's like a profile shot of the eye.
That's enormous. That is at least 3 times bigger than what we
No one did, man. They're so big.
Fuck. Like, yeah. Terrifying.
My favorite part of it, if you go back and rewatch, is how all these bubbles come out of Bo-Katan's helmet. Like, Bo-Katan, who's cool and collected, the badass, just straight up screams. She just loses her shit. She's like, "Bah!" And like all these bubbles coming out. I love that. Like it made her lose her composure. It rocks her, not just her world, but her world view. That there's a mythosaur down there.
Yeah, because so people watching this, like I'm pretty sure this little
sorry to hear that, man. Power to you.
Speck that's like kind of where the flashlight is coming from is her.
Mhm.
Like, this thing is massive.
Yeah, we got the
Theoretically, this thing
Time
could be
Warner
as
kicked
big-
in my door and beat me up for a minute and pulled the plug out, but I put it back in, so we're good.
theoretically, this thing could be as big as the giant mech we saw in Bad Batch, the Xiphos looking creep thing. Like, or
When
or it
you
could be
gasp,
like-
the bubbles go in. The bubbles were streaming outward. She was straight screaming. She screamed in terror.
because their helmets compressed like a suction cup, so that air was only going one way.
Well, she didn't even seal her helmet.
When she jumped in, no, she
didn't have
She heard
she didn't have a chance. She immediately dove right in.
Oh, I'm pretty sure. Like, as soon as he sank, I could have sworn like we heard the suction cup sound when she like stuck her helmet on, and then
No, I don't think she sealed her helmet, because otherwise the bubbles wouldn't have come out.
It's fair.
No,
So
that's right, because they made a point of that. She just beasted it and held her breath for that entire thing.
Damn, she just
Like,
jetpacked.
There's no
Jetpack
hesitation.
into the
She just jumped right into the water. And yeah, the jetpack working underwater was so fucking cool, by the way. That was awesome.
Bro, also, like, shout out to how heavy Beskar must be, because Din Djarin, like, fell. He literally took 5 steps.
Sank like a stone.
5 steps and went, boom, fucking gone. Like,
Sank like a stone. That was amazing. Yeah, no, the Beskar must be extremely heavy. You know, it must be.
Shout out to like how beefy Mandalorians must be if they're wearing and flying with that all the time.
And how heavy and how like intensely powerful their jetpacks must be too.
Well, unless it's a density thing. Unless it's like the metal is lightweight, but it's still, thick as fuck. So it just boom.
Yeah.
Because he did pressurize his helmet. He was ready to like go under.
Right.
So, yeah. Oh, fuck, bro.
Yeah,
Ugh.
right. I want to see it fight a Sando aqua monster from Naboo.
I mean, once this bitch comes out of the water, we'll have a better idea of what the size gauge is. Because I'm pretty sure the Naboo, that fucking water thing, like that thing was like Empire State big. That thing was like tall as fuck.
No,
like,
it was like massive. It was like
bigger than Zillow
sure.
Beast.
And yes, shout out to the awesome dweller in the mines, as I've been calling him, creepy like cyborg creature critter.
Creepy fuck Cylon looking.
Totally stole Mando's juices and like stuck them in a rotisserie.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell that was, and like how he could just undo his own eyeball and put himself in his giant mech crab.
That was my favorite part. That was my favorite part when Bo killed him the first time, and the eye turned back on, and then like scuttled away from the rest of the head. Like, so good. It was so good. Some straight up,
so nuts.
It's some straight up like body horror. Totally. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, confirmation from Sapphire Hazel did not hear the suction sound, and they made a point of letting you hear it when Mando did it the first time. So I think we definitely would have heard it if she had. And I think it adds to how brave she is that she didn't do it and just like is tough and held her breath.
Also, the fact that the creepy eyeball thing literally stuck a fucking needle and hose into Mando's gut and just started sucking juices out of him like fucking Princess Bride.
Well, didn't even do it himself. He got his weird little pumpy droid friend to do it, and the droid's like, okay, I guess I'll suck another one. Like. There was a whole scenario going on down there.
Just the fact that he got stuck on a giant fucking bear trap, man. Yeah.
The thing was just hanging out upside down, buried in the ground, waiting for someone to pick up that particular helmet. Like, how long had it been?
Not cool. Fucking not cool, dude. He was as creepy as like the child hunter in fucking Chitty Bang Bang.
Dr. Holocron, that 100%. And I've honestly, as a Tolkien nerd, I've really been enjoying how much Tolkien we've been getting in our Star Wars recently.
Whoa! I didn't think of that. Oh shit! Mythosaurus.
Yeah, and not just this episode, and not just Mandalorian. The Bad Batch has been like rife with Tolkien references left and right as well. Like, do you remember their whole Mines of Moria thing that they did when they went in? They found the
Ipsium, Indiana Jones, Eric. Yeah, that was fucking amazing.
There's been Tolkien imagery all over the place.
Yeah.
And I'm loving it.
Yeah. Tonight, it's
Grievous on meth. Totally.
It was meth Grievous. Oh man, Crystal Meth Grievous. That's a band name right
What
there.
if it was Crystal Meth Grievous? What if it was Corky? And that's what became of him. You know?
He's just sucking on Mando innards, and he's just some angry, vengeful eyeball. I mean,
That's
hey,
totally how trapdoor spiders work, right?
the power of hatred kept Maul alive, so who the fuck knows? And that dude had his creepy, weird spider lizard friends that like gave him people to feed on too. Like, yeah, now I think about that. Like, what the fuck was he? And then Maul had no problem at all. Like Savage. I think it was Savage that like broke its neck and killed the snake thing, which was also fucking badass. Shout out to that. But so
Grievous Stein. He's totally like a General Grievous, like Walmart Bionicle brand. You know, he's like the crappier tech, but the same concept. You know,
exactly.
No, I dig
that's perfect. Yeah. Tonight, like I don't know. Tonight could happen.
Reminds me of Grievous. Reminds me of Necrons from Warhammer 40K. They have a unit that has the same kind of like bulbous, like crab shell kind of body with like all the legs coming out, like what his vehicle thing had. That's what it reminded me of.
But sorry, what were you gonna say? I was thinking tonight could be the episode where we get to see the dog fight between the Gauntlet and the TIE Interceptors.
We've seen 2 dog fights get teased. One with TIE Interceptors and one with pirate fighters, and they're both on Kalevala. Which
the pirate fighters, that's probably going to be later in the like season finale sort of shit.
I think other way around, man. I think we're going to get the pirate fighters now, and we're going to get the TIE fighters later because nothing imperial has happened yet. I think that's going to be the big twist. See, everyone kind of had a speculation about season 3 that we were going to be building up to the mines, and the season ends with the waters.
Like we're fucking starting that.
Started with the waters, man. Like what the hell's going to happen now? Everything that the trailer kind of laid out as a story has occurred pretty much. And now we've got this fucking pirate salad out there. And we've got like, we don't even know what's going on with Gideon. The Darksaber, like Bo is like being extremely chill about the whole Darksaber thing. Like she's just sort of like going with it. And that's very like, I'm not,
well, she's not. She's not. She's still pissed because all of her
friends. She's still pissed, but she's being way less Bo-Katan about it than I would have expected.
Well, I mean, right now, that was only episode 2. Also, it wasn't specifically Djarin asking her for help. It was Grogu and R4 who flew themselves by themselves.
Who can say no to Grogu, man?
Shout out to Grogu for being a big boy and being able to fly himself back home.
We know we're going to the center of government. It looks a whole lot like Coruscant, but timeline-wise, it would make sense for it to be either Chandrila or Hosnian Prime by now. Honestly, I hope that they fudge the timeline a little bit and just give us Coruscant because that's what the people want to see. They want to see Coruscant.
Design-wise, though, the green crystals, though, bro, the fusion ray, the fusion bombs, the bomb.
Did you notice that the Morlock looking assholes that attacked them were using weapons fashioned from the green fusion ray crystals?
Yes.
Like it was totally like those obsidian weapons, you know, like dragon glass. It's like super, super sharp.
Fucking chuds.
Hey, whatever. They're Iron Age chuds and they've made tools.
But dude, all the outside flybys that we got, like it was one thing when we got to see the capital like flown over from Din Djarin's point of view, but then when we got to see Bo-Katan's sad ass look over through the gauntlet and like we really got to see the fusion bomb craters. Oh, the emerald glass everywhere. But it totally makes sense because we got to see like the glass crystal sort of, you know, like I think what the bombs did is they must have completely cut off certain cities from atmosphere and people just like got napalmed essentially, you know? Like, like the fusion rays just completely blocked them off from everything.
What's kind of cool about it too is that because the surface was bombarded and so much of Mandalorian cities and infrastructure is subterranean because of their own history of warfare wrecking the planet, that it almost created like a Pompeii effect, like when Mount Vesuvius erupted, in that everything's perfectly preserved.
Petrified.
It's just dead and petrified and creepy as fuck. But like all the big like crystal formations are jutting out up on the surface, but down below, it's just like a preserved ghost town.
It was like creepy Oz. It was like really cool Emerald City but like abandoned Oz, which was really super. Like
That's
they
an
could
interesting.
totally
That's an
rebuild
interesting
Mandalore.
parallel. It totally does kind of feel like the Emerald City, and it's not just because of the green crystals. It's because there's like something's very wrong here, and I don't know. They've done a very good job making this particular planet feel otherworldly and eerie, and it's you've got an extra big challenge creating a planet that people have seen so intimately.
I was gonna say because
in another medium, you know, because in the
Clone Wars,
animation we've really seen it a lot.
we got to see Mandalore in its prime, and they are essentially a Viking people, and like
we saw them in their prime. We saw them after their prime also. Like we've seen two periods in their history because Rebels we got to see it a little bit too. But then this is even further out than that. So, you know, so they have to take these two ideas that they've established and like play out the logic of what happens next visually, you know. And I always find that fascinating, especially when it's with something that's already been established at another point in history. So it's cool getting to see Mandalore in live action and also an updated Mandalore, you know.
There was a comment that I wanted to comment on here real quick. Oh yeah, here it is. So do we care about a Din Bo-Katan romance? Do you want to go first?
You go ahead and go first while I find the perfect clip to encapsulate my feelings.
So romance doesn't need to always be involved. Romance does not need, like, if you force if they end up, no, I don't think Filoni's going to do it. I don't think Favreau's going to do it. It's not something that needs to be established. It's not something that needs to be done. Also, agreed. Fucking Din Djarin has a girlfriend. She's that really cute farmer girl that we got to see in season 1 in
Omera.
Farm.
You're talking about Omera.
He is taken. He is a taken man. And yeah, no, you don't. It's not needed. It's not needed. Like there's.
I don't think he's taken necessarily.
I mean, no, not really. I'm just bullshitting with that. But like that was the only time he ever even considered, you know, hanging up the helmet for a hot second. Because even Fennec like asked him multiple times, like, you know, have you ever thought about like, you know,
settling down? And he's like,
yeah. No. He's like, yeah, this girl's nice, but like the universe, you know. Like, but then he also had Grogu at the time too. He's like, I have to protect this little thing. But yeah, it's like that's not the relationship there. Like I think it's more so, if anything, kind of what you've mentioned before and something that we've talked about before. If anything, Bo-Katan's gonna be like, look, I had my time being the ruler of Mandalore. I might just have to bite the bullet and be like, look, this guy, Din Djarin, he should be Mando. I'll be hand of the king. It's cool.
It'll all work out. Just trust
me. Yeah. If anything, I think Bo's kind of looking at it as like this dude, like, because age-wise, we don't really know Din Djarin's age, but like we know that Bo-Katan shit talks the cult all the time. So the cult is obviously like, and her are kind of around the same age. So like Din's probably relatively maybe younger than Bo-Katan anyway, so he could rule a little bit longer. But if she took the steward sort of role, that would be much cooler, I think. If like she was sort of
I can agree with that.
You know, head of the council sort of a deal. Because like Din Djarin has his own shit to do, and they have to still bring the cult and regular Mandos back together. So
for my answer, so the short answer is no. I don't think that they should be a romance, let alone that they're going to be. I don't think they're going to be either. But so the mentality with which I view the Mandalorian is that it is Star Wars toys, the show. All right. And a lot of people don't like that, but it's the truth, and you just got to accept it. This is about playing with Star Wars toys, and this is how Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni have played with their Star Wars toys. That's the story that they're telling us. And I don't think that they're interested in developing any sort of romances in this show. Like, honestly, I just don't think that they're going to do that. And the people that do want that, I imagine that they play with their Star Wars toys like this.
Of course you do. Druish princesses are often attracted to money and power, and I have both, and you know it. Oh, leave me alone. No, kiss me. No, no, yes, no, no, yes, no, yes. Oh, your helmet is so big.
Lord Helmet, what? You need it on the bridge, sir.
Knock on my door! Knock next time!
Yes, sir.
Did you see anything?
No, sir. I didn't see you playing with your dolls again.
Good!
Just making him kiss. Just making him kiss. That's it is every time someone says Bo-Katan, Din Djarin romance, I just imagine Dave Filoni with 2 action figures being like, mwah, 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 mwah.
It's the same shit. It's the same shit with the
That's
Sabine.
not what it is here.
It's the same shit with the Sabine Ezra ship. It's like, just stop it. Let platonic relationships happen and let brother-sister relationships just be fucking brother-sister relationships. Stop fucking.
See, I am totally okay with a Din Cobb relationship, actually, and I'll tell you why. Because Cobb Vanth is a crafty, slick motherfucker, and if he was doing it with someone, you would never know about it.
That's true.
You would
That's
never have an inkling because he's that
so
smooth.
funny.
He's that slick. All right.
That's so
So
funny.
for all we know, Din and Cobb is canon, and he's just that good. All right. You just don't know what Cobb's got going on. He's just too slick for it.
Cobb Vanth's the type of guy that makes Chrysanthemum go grr.
Bo-Katan is not capable of a low-key relationship, all right? If she became an item with Din Djarin, the entire fucking galaxy would know it, whether they like it or not.
You can't have 2 power tops together. It doesn't.
Dude, imagine their first fight.
You can't.
How many planets would be left in
We've already
ruins?
seen it, unseen it. We've already seen it by it not happening because fucking Moff Gideon was there and that motherfucker started it. He's like, "Hey, you guys gonna fight? You guys gonna fight?" And Djarin's like, "I don't understand." And Bo-Katan's like, no. Like, so
Sabine and Ezra have strong feelings about that. They are absolutely siblings, and it feels weird and wrong to me to imagine them together. That's my brain has completely filed that as not okay for whatever reason. Sabine and Ezra, they are siblings.
Yeah. Yes.
But yeah, Cobb and Din, they are a power couple, but they're a power stealth couple. No one would ever know. And that's why it works without them doing anything to change the subtext already in the material. Is because he's a stealthy, slick motherfucker. We all know it.
Exactly.
We all know it.
Oh my god.
Think it through.
He's the Lando of Tatooine. Oh god, that's fucking amazing.
Because Tatooine needs one of those.
Absolutely hilarious. Holy
so
shit.
agree or disagree? I assume you're referring to the overall question. I would say disagree to a Bo-Katan Din Djarin romance, and casual agree to Din Cobb.
Casual agree to Din. Make it happen. Right.
Take it or leave it. I really, it's fine. There's no problem with it.
Exactly.
Every system needs a Lando, man. Lando's not a system. He's a man.
And for every Lando, there's a Hondo. Okay.
Made our
every Lando Calrissian, there's a Hondo Anaka. So just keep that in consideration.
Speaking of which, where the fuck is Hondo at during all this Mandalorian nonsense? Why have we not seen Hondo yet, my dude?
At this point, he might be on the Empire.
Sorry.
Cobb and Din are okay, but I meant when I said
I thought you were talking about something else.
Darksaber. Wait, what was the question?
Let me scroll up and find your original question.
I don't remember what the Bo Darksaber question was.
Bo-Katan is now the rightful owner of the Darksaber. Din was defeated by Meth Grievous, and he was defeated by Bo in combat, like Harry Potter's Elder Wand. I think the chain of custody got broken, though, in the middle of that, because it was not removed from the droid in combat. The droid simply removed it from Din and dropped it on the ground.
Yeah.
And then discarded it. I don't know if that counts as him winning it in combat. And either way, Bo definitely didn't win it in combat against the droid. She just picked it up and used it.
Bro, okay, also...
And then she relinquished it. She relinquished it to Din as well. So I don't know if it made a solid connection enough to pass ownership over. And also, I'm not sure if it works that way. We don't know enough about it.
Fucking, speaking of amazing...
You look like you're turning into a Tusken Raider. What do you have to say?
I know. Speaking of amazing fight choreography in Mandalorian history, shout out to us being able to see in live action fucking Bo-Katan use her phaser shield and the Darksaber at the same time like a goddamn Spartan. Like a goddamn Spartan. It was just straight up shield.
That was incredible.
Saber slash shield. Like
I didn't realize how badly I needed sword and shield combat in my Star Wars, in my live action, but like
so fucking cool. In full armor. Like Meth Grievous. He's forever now going to be known as Meth.
That
Grievous.
is one thing. That is one thing that Dune has over Star Wars, in my opinion.
Armor
is large scale fucking knife fights, my dude. Like whenever you've got armies fighting armies in Star Wars, it's pew 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 with a couple of sabers on the front lines. But in Dune, like no one carries projectile weapons. Everyone has like a big ass fucking Bowie knife, like a vibrating Bowie knife, and a shield. And there's like 50 on 50 on a fucking staircase in the dark. And that is like, I love it. I love it. It's such a different take on sci-fi fighting.
That's true.
Yeah, the slow knife.
I mean, we kind of
so good.
I mean, we kind of get that in KOTOR. We kind of get that in some of the online games with a lot of the vibro blades and a lot of the vibro staff actions. And there are like a lot more melee options in other mediums, but you're 100% correct in that we don't generally see it a lot within the Star Wars universe, coincidentally. Because
it's rare. It's a rare sight.
And it's so funny because like in the video games, they emphasize using energy shields and having personal shields,
right? And having bubble
help
shields,
you not get shot.
Shields.
Yeah, but in live action, that's never really a thing, and they never really bring that up. So I wonder if that is more of
the only time we see it is droidicas.
Yeah, so I wonder if that is more of like a just pure video game mechanic, or if that is like more of a in-universe.
I think it's both. I think a lot of elements of video games exist in this quasi-canon, where yes, this is real technology. It exists. It floats out there in the world, but we've just never seen it used, kind of thing.
That's true.
They use the whole galaxy as a big place excuse to explain away a lot of the stuff. Like, oh, people were using those personal shields in the original trilogy. They were just right off camera around the corner over there, kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, because in Battlefront 2, aren't there at least 2 guns that use like actual ammo, like physical bullets?
Scattergun, baby. Oh yeah.
Get
the scattergun goes back to Republic Commando. That was one of that's like your shotgun option in the old Republic Commando games, and then in Jedi Outcast you can use it as well. In Battlefront you could use it to fire specifically through the shields. They carried that logic over. And then in Mandalorian season 2 in the Ahsoka episode, I'm blanking on the actor's name now. Someone drop it in the chat for me. But the guy from Aliens,
he used a real gun.
He used the scattergun. He used that scattergun in his showdown with
his shotgun. That was a really cool looking weapon.
Yeah, no, that was really cool.
I guess we do see the Tusken Raiders use sniper rifles in.
Yeah, they do. That's what
Eve race. Because
really quick, just while we have this comment on the screen. Yes, when Bo busted out the shield was fucking awesome, and the way she used her grappling cable to pick up the Darksaber, I thought was like a direct callback to Sabine, to the Rebels episode where she trains with the Darksaber, and then when like she finally gets her wind back, she like uses the grappling hook and uses all of her tools. That's immediately what I thought of when she did that. It was so fucking cool.
It was so Swiss Army knife and just like peak Mandalorian.
Mandalorian isn't Din, it's Grogu. He can tame beasts and potentially use a saber properly. Oh, and could literally rule Mandalore for centuries. Very good points. And I agree with you, actually. I've been thinking that for a while. We've seen Grogu tame a series of beasts, and I think he's going to tame the mythosaur, and that Grogu is like the next step for Mandalore. I really think he is.
That's true. And we also have the theory already.
Yes, they do.
And we also had the theory last time that when we see Din Djarin walking out of the cave, that's going to be Grogu's helmet anointing ceremony. So if they could give Grogu a little crown, that could work.
The Fremen do use projectile weapons, but that's because no one in the Fremen society also has kinetic shielding, like personal shields. Because if a laser blast hits a shield, you get a massive fucking explosion that is not worth it for anybody. So usually, even the Fremen will discard projectile weapons when they're going into like mass combat against another force, though.
Yeah.
If the force has,
if we're gonna go that route,
no one wants to fuck with like atomic level explosions because you shot a guy in the dick. You know, it's just not worth it.
But I mean, like if we're gonna go that route, then I mean, like the Night Sisters.
Hicks, yes, Michael Bean Hicks. Sorry, yes, he was scattergun dude for Mandalorian.
Wasn't he the marshal? I mean, not the marshal. Wasn't he like the sheriff for the lady Ahsoka was fighting?
Yes, yeah, he was like totally like the marshal of that town, or head of security for the lady.
Yeah, because the only creature Din Djarin tamed was the 2-legged little big talking thing in the first season. That was about it.
Well, Grogu tames the Rancor, and he tamed the fucking.
Din.
Oh, Din.
The only creature Din tamed was the 2 little foot.
Was the Blurg.
The Blurg,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, and Quill talked
so
about the
true.
mythosaur all the way back then, man. They've been teasing this for 3 seasons. The Blarg.
The Blarg.
Pretty much. The
That's
Blurg.
totally the Blarg. Yeah.
In Battlefront 2, the Republic officer's default pistol, the little DC guy, it's called a Blurg. It's named after the animal.
That's hilarious.
It's like Blurg 19 or like Blurg 17 or something.
The Tusken dogs. What about the Tusken dogs? Tusken dogs don't shoot projectiles.
They should.
What are you talking about?
It'd be great
Oh,
if
you
they
asked
learned
what
to
I was
use
talking
weapons.
about? Oh, Din Djarin didn't talk to Tusken dogs. He's just nice to dogs. Din Djarin's
He did a Tusken call and like calmed the dog down.
Yeah, but that's like
when they were off in the canyons and the dog started prowling on him. He was like, "Arr, arr, arr, arr," and the dogs were like, "Oh,
yeah,
he's still." That guy's a homie.
That's a little different though. That's not.
But he was calling out to their masters. Is really what was happening. Yeah,
that's not the same as like calm beast. You know, it's not the same as Jon Snow like fucking touching
and
head,
communing and communicating with the Tuskens is not the same as communing with an animal because that would be racist as fuck. It doesn't count. If he was talking to their dogs, that would count. But like, no, Tuskens are absolutely like have a whole society. They're just outside of galactic society, so they're considered like primitive, but they're not necessarily very primitive.
Exactly. That's exactly,
he's like, "Who's a good boy?"
He's like, hey, I see you. I
saw a compilation recently of Din Djarin asking basic ass questions, and God, he really is a sheltered guy, isn't he? He's like, Are you a Jedi? Is that a droid? Is that a bench? Like
a bench, dude. That fucking question. Yeah.
Is that a bench?
That fucking.
He stands there for 10 fucking minutes watching a Jedi with a lightsaber use the Force and kill dark troopers, and then he comes in and he's like, "Are you a Jedi?" That's my favorite thing about Din Djarin is that he has no idea he's in Star Wars.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's perfect. That's the perfect analogy for it.
They go to Tython. They're on fucking Tython of the Old Republic, and he's like, "Does this look Jedi to you?" Like,
this is
what do we
things?
I'm just gonna put you on this rock here, and then it's gonna start glowing, and then there'll be an emergency. So I'll try to rescue you. And the first 3 times it doesn't work, so I'll try 3 more fucking times to push my head through the hologram. Like
he tried his best, man. He's tried his best. Oh my god!
I think that we're gonna get that. I think that Bo-Katan is gonna meet the armorer, and she's gonna call her out for her role.
Could you imagine if they just get into a fucking slap fight?
No, we're getting a reveal. We're gonna get a fucking reveal. The armorer has a hidden identity, and we're gonna learn what it is. And I'm telling you, she's Rook cast.
That'd be a fucking big deal. If
they were both part of Death Watch, but Bo-Katan left, and Rook cast sided with fucking Maul. That's where the rift happened, man.
Oh my god.
That's where the rift happened. The armorer sided with Darth fucking Maul, and that's why she can't show her face in Mandalorian society anymore, because she's why it got broken, dude. That's why she's the head of this cult of the Watch of like, oh, you got to keep your helmet on all the time because she's a fucking fugitive.
If you're right, I'm gonna lose my fucking shit.
Yeah, I'm calling it right now. I'm making my prediction. God. The armorer is Rook cast, and she's hiding her face in secret because she's much more responsible for the downfall of Mandalore than Bo-Katan ever was. Quite honestly,
dude, could you imagine like if they just like they start the yelling match and Bo-Katan's like, your cult's bullshit, and then she's just
aided and abetted in the downfall of society.
Yeah, and the armor is just like, you fucking ruined our planet, bitch. And then they get into a fight, and then like
the horns, she's got horns on her gold and shit.
Yeah, they knock each other's helmets off, and then all of a sudden we get to see her real face, and Bo-Katan's like, bitch, you worked for Maul.
I think you're right. Sapphire, I think you're totally onto something. She's gonna get her helmet removed like a goddamn Scooby-Doo villain, and it's gonna be Rook cast under there. Or Ben Quadraneros. It's
I don't know if she'll be the main villain necessarily of season 3. Yeah, it's Ben Quadraneros.
I mean, if you think about how the biggest obstacle to Din is his own like rigid beliefs that have been built by the cult, in that way, she's holding him back more than anyone. You know?
Yeah,
he could be spending his time uniting Mandalore, but instead he's tripping over himself, trying to redeem himself in the eyes of the armorer who has done what exactly for the good of the people. Like, no, she's sus, and she's definitely has her own personal designs that, yeah, no, I think she has a checkered past, and it's all going to come out. That helmet's coming off.
Ooh, metaphor. Finger under the throat means death. Yes.
Never say never. Never say never.
Corky.
Hello there. Welcome.
Yes.
Is he safe? Is he all right?
Dude, he probably either A, is in prison somewhere, or B, the Empire probably like assassinated his ass real quick. They're like, yo, he's a political refugee and we need to take him out just in case.
I think Corky, the realistic answer is he died in obscurity during the fall of Mandalore. But what if he escaped from the planet, changed his identity, and capitalized on the fact that he's the spitting image of a certain Jedi Knight, and he is like known mostly for playing Obi-Wan Kenobi in holodramas about the Jedi Order, like imperial propaganda films where they're like the evil bad guys. He's the actor who plays Obi-Wan.
Oh god.
Because just the resemblance in the face. It's like someone put a fake beard on him and they're like, oh, you know what? There's something there, kid. You're going to play this character for 18 seasons. I bet they have that. I bet the Empire has all kinds of like HoloNet shows that are the imperial equivalent of like Law and Order and like NCIS or like police procedurals, because that is a large part of controlling and placating a population, especially in an authoritarian society, is like you just throw entertainment at them.
Oh, dude, they totally
mindless TV programming, like reality TV, shit like that.
They totally have their own bullshit, like History Channel of like, now in real time, we're gonna go over minute by minute the assassination attempt on Chancellor Palpatine, you know, or like this day.
Totally. I'm sure there are like 1,000 fucking like the equivalent of like Lifetime movies or like Hallmark movies about like inspirational movies about the Chancellor and the time that he survived an assassination attempt and all this stuff. Like, think shirtless Putin riding on a horse. Like, I'm sure there's all kinds of shit like that about Palpatine out there.
Oh, exactly. Oh yeah.
Is Gar Saxon dead by the time of the Mandalorian? Gar Saxon has been worm food since season 3 of Rebels. So yes, he's long dead. He was killed by Sabine with the Darksaber. In fact, yeah, she got his ass. You know, that was a good fight.
Yeah.
Holy fuck, I forgot about that too. Oh, where's he gonna show up, man? Goddamn Doc Brown from Back to the Future. Christopher Lloyd, the legend. Actor? No, dude, it's Christopher Lloyd.
No, but I mean, like, I don't remember.
He hasn't shown up yet. He hasn't shown up yet. He's gonna be in Mandalorian season 3.
Oh, did we see him in a teaser or a trailer? I don't remember.
No. It was like a casting. It was like a casting scoop from long before the season came out. Thank you for bringing that up, Laura. I had completely forgotten about that. Yeah, no, we're gonna get him in here. Oh, you're right. They dueled for the Darksaber, and then Ursa Wren, Sabine's mom, actually shot him. That's right. You're totally right.
Yeah, because they kind of gave Gar Saxon a redemption arc, but Sabine's mom was still like, "No, you fucked up our planet by joining Maul."
I don't think they gave him a. I don't think they gave him a redemption arc. He was evil till the end. He just lost the duel. And then he tried.
I mean,
he lost the duel, and then when she was all like, "Yes, I won the duel," he was about to like shoot her in the back as a sore loser, and then Ursa Wren shot him first.
Oh, was he just in prison and like telling Kanan the history of the Darksaber just because?
No, you're thinking you're combining two characters. Fen Rao gave Kanan the history of the Darksaber. Gar Saxon was the head of the Imperial Super Commandos that were in charge.
Yeah, he was the really cool. He had the really cool armor where it was a yellow visor, and he's going to be in Shatterpoint.
He joined with Maul. He had the big ass spikes during the siege, and then years later in Rebels, he was the de facto leader of Mandalore with Imperial backing.
Oh, fuck. That's
Remember?
right.
The
Yes.
Imperials had installed Gar
Yeah.
Saxon as the leader, and he was in charge of these Imperial super commandos.
That's when we saw the Mando troopers. Yeah, that's right. That's when we first got to see troopers with jetpacks. Yes.
That would be hilarious. I don't think that's true, but that would be funny. Oh, you're right. Carson Teva has to come back. Do you think he's going to be like, oh, yeah, Cara Dune says hi, by the way?
Maybe. I mean, for Gideon,
Gideon's
still in prison right now. So Gideon's still arrested. So we could see anybody whenever
you know what?
Gideon shows
That's
up.
totally what it is. We're going to see Carson Teva after Gideon escapes from prison. Carson's going to show up on Navarro to warn everybody because he was like, hey, this is the last place that Gideon like messed a bunch of stuff up. So I wanted to give you guys a heads up. He's out there somewhere. Or maybe he's looking for leads, see if Gideon had returned to the planet or something.
That's true. I mean, because I doubt he would go to his original antics of just trying to kidnap Grogu again. Like, I feel like he has better things to do. Fucking Palpatine clones to try to make. You know?
I think we're going to get more about that. I think that by the end of the Bad Batch, we're going to have a really good idea of what the cloning scheme is all about. And I think that's going to inform the final episodes of this season of Mandalorian as well.
Dude, I'm so pumped for Bad Batch if we even get to see Krennic or Moff Gideon, because like this is the time where they would eventually show up. So
he could be talking about Thrawn's unknown region fleet. It's true. He could hook up with Thrawn. Personally, that's concerning to me because the timeline doesn't support it unless the events of the Ahsoka show have already happened and we just haven't seen them yet. Because Thrawn can't reemerge before, like, Thrawn can't reemerge after
Thrawn's
we see him doing a bunch of shit.
Right now.
Exactly.
Thrawn's so fucking missing.
Well, we know he's coming back, dude. We know he's coming back in the Ahsoka show because.
Well, yeah, but he's doing chiss shit with Ezra right now. Like he's
not going to return. He's going to return in the Ahsoka show, and then whatever happens there is going to have like crossover with Mandalorian, with Skeleton Crew, with all the other shows that are happening at the same time. Think of it as a Mando-verse, you know. The effects of one will splash over into the other. But we can't see Thrawn doing shit before we see him return. So we can't get Thrawn in season 3. It wouldn't make sense. Yeah. It would make sense if they then come out with Ahsoka and they're like, this takes place a year before season 3 of The Mandalorian. Like they could pull some hokey shit like that, I guess. But I won't like it. I want to see.
I don't know. I think it's better to keep them separate also. Say again, I'm sorry.
I'm just saying, the next time I see Thrawn, it better be the first time he's returning to the galaxy.
Yes.
You know, I want to see him for the first time along with the galaxy.
Yeah, agreed. Because again, like it would make sense to keep those aspects of the Empire and that aspect of villains completely separate also, because it's like Gideon should represent the First Order, and Gideon should be part of the Imperial remnant as a whole. Because Thrawn, again, he's just shit. He's scientist shit. He's like, these Imperials have always been racist towards me, and I've had to work twice as hard, and I'm going to be going into the outer reaches of space because of fucking hyperspace whales. And oh god,
yes,
wrong shit. Like, there's so much, like Thrawn. Like, yeah, I don't know. If anything, Thrawn could be like, when he comes back, he's not going to give two shits about the Empire. You know, we're gonna get long haired, like tribal savage land.
Yeah, you think he's going to have been through some stuff and he's going to have rethought his ways? Like, that would be amazing.
He's still going to have his Star Destroyer. Like, he's still going to like have his shit, but like,
hold on.
But he's going to be like, you know, Palpatine's dead, so I have other things to do. There's better things to accomplish and other things to study and do. But yes. But having the separate stories be reminiscent of each other but still separate is really kind of what makes a palette. You know, it's wonderful seeing the painting come together, but it's also great being able to see the separate colors that it took to make the overall masterpiece. And it's what you're able to like go back and rewatch and redo and like get new ideas before going back into a rewatch or a later thing.
I think those separate ideas are temporary, and I think that eventually it's all going to culminate in one story. whether it's like a crossover event miniseries under its own title or if it's actually a movie. I think that all roads are currently leading to a reiteration of the Heir to the Empire story, of the original Thrawn trilogy of books written by Timothy Zahn. I think that's where we're going to crescendo, and Wayland, Mount Tantiss is going to be relevant. The Snoke cloning is going to be our new Luke. You know, I think that Ezra could become our new Joris Kaboeth. You know, shout out to Lurch, who like will not let that theory die, and I love him for it. I think that we're going to culminate with the canon equivalent of Heir to the Empire by Timothy Zahn. And Mando's going to be front and center. The Mandalorians will be front and center. Grogu, Luke Skywalker, fucking that is my prediction. If anything, is we're going to culminate in a massive crossover hybrid event that involves all of it, and it's going to be reminiscent of Legends, but new and exciting. That's what I hope, anyway.
Yeah, because theoretically, at this relative time, also like Luke's trying to build the new Jedi Order, and Leia's doing full government shit right now. She's running for office.
Leia hasn't been canceled yet. She gets canceled in a few years during the events of Bloodlines when it comes out that Vader is her father. Yeah. As soon as that happens, her political career goes. There's
a lot of things. There's a lot of cultures and groups of people that have to get really built up to this big crescendo before the sort of shitstorm we get to see. That's like the beginning of The Force Awakens. You know, because it's like The Force Awakens is kind of like A New Hope, where it's like we only got to see the heights of what its empire was, but we didn't get to see the First Order get to rise. And it's like this, we're going to get to see. We're going to get to see the shitstorm, you know, because we didn't get to see it.
Totally. No, and that's what I want to see. I want to see the shitstorm, you know.
We never got to see the original Mandalorian war against the Jedi. We never got to see the original Sith Jedi war unless you play the video. So it's like
I want to see it so bad.
Yeah.
I really hope the Acolyte is successful as a show, because that's going to really leave that door wide open to do every time period under the sun, you know? Because
if anything, I think Mara Jade,
a High Republic show goes well, an Old Republic show can go well, you know?
I don't know if we will get a modern day Mara Jade necessarily. I think her character concept might be like
it's possible that we won't, but I would like to speculate, like if you were in the writer's room and you were told, okay, where could Mara Jade fit back in with the way canon is now, what would you do? Would you try and put her in the sequels timeline where she would have been in the books, or would you try and like bring it back and have her be an original trilogy era character, which is kind of supported in the Legends comics as well? Personally, I think you would have her be like an old Imperial asset left over from, like, you know, she was one of the Emperor's hand-picked assassins, and Gideon somehow gets his hands on like activation codes to like dispatch assassins to go take care of Din Djarin, and that's how she gets put on the radar of like Luke Skywalker, because she goes after Grogu, and then one thing leads after another, and then she could have the same storyline where she stops, like she targets Luke, gets him in the crosshairs, falls in love with him. They have their entire relationship. It all plays out. Fucking dies right before the tragedy with Kylo Ren, further leading to why Luke isolates himself. He's not just because of the students, but also because of the death of the love of his life. You know, kind of the way originally Hayden Christensen's performance leaving the Jedi Order, like people said it wasn't enough, that there was something missing there. And then once you add the emotional context of Ahsoka has just left and he already has a hole. Now he's losing Padme. It makes it more impactful. And so if they brought Mara Jade back in and had him lose her and then lose the students and then lose the temple, it would just make his self-imposed exile make that much more sense. He's grieving on more levels now, you know? So that's where I would fit her in. And I know that technically that's just fridging her, and that's a terrible thing to do. But
is that the word when you torture? Is that the word when you torture?
When you kill off a female character for the sake of character development of someone else, like that's the purpose she serves. That's called fridging, and it's not a good thing to do with your female characters, guys. But honestly, she has to be dead by this point, because Mara Jade would not stand for Luke cutting himself off for the galaxy. So the only reason that she would allow that is that she has no choice, because she's not alive anymore. So that
Which,
would
just
be
like poetry, it rhymes, because at the very beginning of the story, that's kind of Qui-Gon Jinn's whole thing, because he almost walked away from the Jedi Council when his girlfriend got killed by Aurra Sing. But that was also
yes.
a dark horse. That's
I wouldn't say I would
story.
hesitate to say that it fixes Luke, because I don't think that what happened with Luke is necessarily broken. I just think it has some gaps that context could really make it stronger. You know, similar to Anakin's arc in Episode 3. When you add the emotional context,
you add the Ahsoka,
it's a lot more
aspect.
It has more weight to it, and I feel like if you added emotional context of Mara Jade to Luke, his exile would do the same thing.
Because back then, Ahsoka wasn't a thing. Back then, like there was no prayer context, and even with Ahsoka, it took Barris Offee to like make Ahsoka leave. And if it wasn't for Barris, there wouldn't be Ahsoka. And if it wasn't Ahsoka, it was for Anakin. So
I feel like Barris Offee wouldn't have been enough for Ahsoka to leave if the council had her fucking back, though.
Exactly.
If they had actually taken her side, it wouldn't have mattered all the stuff she went through. She still would have returned. But they just threw her to the fucking wolves. And then they had the arrogance to be like, actually, this was your test. Get the fuck out of here,
Which was Dooku's issue when Qui-Gon was like, we should be worried that I fought a Sith Lord on Tatooine. And the council was like, fuck it, you deal with it. And get straight up murked. Then Dooku was like, fuck you guys. I'm out.
If Sidious had really been brilliant, if Sidious had really had the plan, he would have stepped in there and been like, hey, Ahsoka, heard you had a bad time with those Jedi. Why don't you come with me and we'll make a real difference? Like, if he had figured out the right sort of way to like seduce, dude, he seduced Dooku. He could seduce Ahsoka.
Nah, man,
he didn't even try.
Were too tight.
He didn't even try.
Padme were too tight. She wasn't gonna kick it with fucking Palps of all people.
They stopped being tight. They stopped being tight when she left the Order. When she goes and hangs out with the Martez sisters, she doesn't reach out to Padme. That's the secret wife of her former master. That's way too close. She can't do that.
I don't know. I don't think she would have kicked it with Palpatine out of all. I don't think he.
I'm not sure that she would have either. But Palpatine didn't even make the attempt, and that bothers me. Ahsoka's one of the most powerful Jedi in the Order, and she's young and impressionable, and she's leaving the Order. She's becoming a free agent, and Palpatine totally could have taken advantage of that, but he never did.
Because she never had a spark of evil. She wasn't like Ventress. She wasn't like.
She doesn't need a spark of evil. She just needs to be pointed in the right direction, and she needs to be told that what she's doing is the right thing. You got to think about it like a Sith. He wouldn't be like, "Hey, you want to come be really evil with me?" He'd be like, "Let me tell you why the Jedi are bad people and how you can save the galaxy from them." That's what he would have said. He would have been like, "Let me show you how you can rescue people."
That was never her thing, though. That was never her goal.
No, I feel like he could have done it. Because her fatal flaw is that she can't not help people. She can't turn a blind eye and walk away from it when people are getting hurt. That's why she blew her own cover in Tales of the Jedi. So all that Palpatine would have had to do is convince her that people were being hurt by the Jedi, and she had to help by aiding him. You know?
Fuck. I don't know. That's so rough. It's so rough.
We got sniped for playing a public trailer.
Yeah.
Come on.
It was less than 5 minutes of footage. And yeah, it was teaser but yeah.
The teaser itself was really cool. It is available on YouTube. Just watch it there where they want you to watch it. And probably like, I don't know, 10% of it. I don't know how long of it is on our stream before it got axed, but if you go onto our YouTube channel, the previous stream before this one should contain it right at the end. I think Barris is still alive too, and I think that might be something that we deal with in Ahsoka.
That would be cool.
You never know.
Yeah, no, she's probably in prison somewhere. I don't think she's in the same level of prison as that fucked up tomb that we saw Luminara Mummy in, where they're just using her.
She's being used as a lure.
Shit. Yeah, no, I feel like Barris. I'm sure Barris is like in prison somewhere, because she got arrested before the start of the Empire. So
I think all Force sensitive prisoners were either killed or turned into Inquisitors.
Ooh.
So she's either an Inquisitor or she's like on Amber somewhere in the Fortress Inquisitorius in that vault room, you know? She was either taken down to that Amber vault or she is herself an Inquisitor now.
Bro.
And Barris would be a badass Inquisitor. She'd be so tortured. She'd have such a fucking like nuanced and like dark, intimate relationship with the dark side. She would have a,
God, dude.
she'd have a leg up on all the other Inquisitors too, because all the other Inquisitors were Jedi first, and then after Order 66, their journeys in the darkness began. But Barris's journey in the darkness began before Order 66, so she would have come into the Inquisitor training with like a different mindset and a different level of personal experience. And like honestly, she could be one of the most formidable Inquisitors out there.
She would be fucking great, dude.
And and what better place to reveal that than in live action?
Dude, how double fucked up would it be if she like became like first sister or like, you know, first Inquisitor, and she's like, yo, I have this idea of what to do with my former master's body. Like, what if it was Barris's fucking idea of like, yo, I want to put my old master on. Yo.
Barris is the one that puts Lumina. Oh man, I hadn't considered that.
That's so dark. That's so dark.
That's fucked up, man. That's fucked up. Like legit, if it's
so
Barris,
that's Cersei Lannister level evil, dude. That's
seriously
Cersei Lannister fucked.
Like, because the thing is, like, Barris isn't a bad person, right? She's a hurt.
Oh, she just got screwed over.
She's a broken person who wasn't supported when she needed to be supported, and I think that makes for the most compelling kind of antagonist. It's someone that you're like, oh God, you're so like you're doing terrible things, but I feel so bad for you. It's like it's always more fun when you have a complicated relationship with the person on screen rather than like, oh, they're just a bad guy. I just hate them. They're just a dick.
They're just a dick. Yeah.
But with Barris, it's like, you poor thing. Nobody loved you. You know? Like, yeah. Oh man.
Now I'm just picturing this green skinned beauty and like in the black robes with the red saber. I'm just like,
that Mary Ellen look would really pop with like the black and red robes. Like, fuck yeah.
Because I mean, technically, didn't Sarah Michelle Gellar's which sister was she?
She was the 7th.
Didn't she kind of have like she had like a greenish pale?
She was she's 7th sister, I want to say. Or
maybe it was just Force Combat. Maybe it was just that fighting game that we played where they kind of emphasized more of a green skin for her. But like,
no, she was Mary Ellen. She was the same race as Barris.
Oh, she was. Oh,
she was also Mary Ellen. Yeah.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Then yeah, okay. So we've totally seen. Until it was officially confirmed, like a lot of people thought that she was Barris, but she's not. That would have been cool.
I knew she wasn't Barris because Mary Ellen face markings don't change. Okay,
they're tattoos. Yeah,
right. They're not about to change. But either way, yeah, that was awesome. Thank you for watching Dork Forces, everybody. This is technically part 2 of the stream because we got turned off by, who was it this time? Time Warner, Viacom. They've all had a go at us over the years. All right. We covered the Dungeons and Dragons brand new trailer. It was pretty awesome. We're definitely going to be doing more content about that later in the month when that comes out. We recapped our Emerald City Comic-Con experience last weekend, where we got to ask questions in the Mandalorian Q&A, and I tried to get to the truth of the Corky conspiracy with Katie Sackhoff, who was very helpful about it. I really can't wait. We've got a killer episode of Bad Batch and an amazing episode of Mandalorian ready tonight. I'm pretty sure that we're going to have another run-of-the-mill episode, maybe 35 to 40 minutes of Bad Batch, but it's almost an hour, a straight fucking hour of Mando tonight, buddy. It's 58 minutes.
Excellent. There's going to be so much
minutes. That's what I heard.
So much story, so much content. Yeah, no, this is good shit.
It's going to be great.
Prime storytelling.
Just in case anyone did not get to see our recap, we are going to be posting that also on the YouTube channel, but I'm going to go ahead and play us out with it as well so you guys can see one more time what our experience was like. Thank you so much for watching, everybody, and as always, may the Force be with you. I just jumped the gun on saying may the Force be with you because I actually haven't got it yet. Wait, there it is. We had to restart the stream. All right, give me a break. All right, have a good night, everybody. We'll see you on the other side with our Bad Batch and Mando reactions.
Yeah, Gar Saxon here.
I'm the Bendu.
Just now arriving at Emerald City Comic-Con.
Saturday, boys and girls and nons, all the days and days.
All of the days, everybody. Let's take a look what's inside, shall we? And here we are.
There are pirates everywhere today because the R flag means death panels coming up later. We're going to try and get into that if it doesn't fill up. I missed a step. Hell yeah. We are waiting in line for the Star Wars Experience, which is hosted by the 501st. Hey, Dark Helmet! You look amazing, dude. You look amazing, dude. All right, this is pretty sweet. There's some awesome stuff in here. Look at this, it's just absolute carnage. What can men do against such reckless hate? Yeah, get him, get him.
Come out and face them with me.
We found the maps. Look at all of the, they will make fine additions to my collection.
Oh, look at that.
Check out the mall. Look at that thing.
That is beautiful.
We've got a framed and autographed dust jacket of Splinter of the Mind's Eye right here. I find it kind of fucked up that we've got autographs from everyone except Alan Dean Foster on this thing.
Dork forces!
Dork forces! Dork forces! Dork forces! Dork forces! Dork forces!
Dork forces!
We're at the Mandalorian panel. It's pretty loud in here. It's a party.
We're gonna try to ask a question at least this time, but if not, we're really excited to see who goes up.
We know that Katie Sackhoff is here because she's doing autographs, but other than that, it's kind of a mystery, so we'll see.
Please welcome Katie Sackhoff, Simon Casianis, and Mercedes Bernardo of the Mandalorian!
Fuck yeah! Oh my god!
Hi, what's your name?
Hello there. My name is Kyle. I'm from around here. And first, I want to thank you guys for your awesome contributions to Star Wars. And I have a Clone Wars question for Katie. This might be a bit of a deep cut. What is your personal opinion on the theory that Corky is the child of your sister Satine and Obi-Wan Kenobi? Have you heard that theory?
Honestly, I have no idea. Look, as a fan, I mean, it's a cool theory. It's a really cool theory, right? But I have no idea. That's so far above my pay grade.
Thank you.
You're welcome.